And Beverly, thank you for running this meeting. The purpose of, well, I'll do all the necessary bits. The recording of this meeting is kept, so if anyone wants to view it anytime, they can do so. The purpose of this meeting is to talk about Heartlands Ward priorities for the ward plan for 2022 to 2026. So this is like a working document. So what I have been kind of sending some kind of letters out to constituents to see what their concerns are, and some of them have replied back. Just a handful of them. So what this just so basically this was to just go with the draft document because it's a working document, so we can make changes to it, or if residents feel that certain things should be added, they can be added at any particular time. So it's not that we've got to agree everything today and that's done. So is that okay, Ifzal? Hello.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So Beverly, if it's okay, the draft which I've kind of sent all the information I've been getting from the residents. Shall I just briefly go over that? What the priorities?
Yeah, I've got the document here. I think so. Do you want to share it on screen? If I put it up on screen, can people let me know if you can see it, and then you can talk to it on the screen.
Yeah,
Is that okay?
yeah. If you can do that, if you
Okay,
can do
yeah.
that, that'll be great.
Yeah. So hopefully it should be here. Right, okay. And then if you just let me know if you can see that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And then obviously then as I go through, you just tell me when you want me to move the pages on. Okay.
Yeah. If you just move on to our first priority.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, which should be hopefully the next
There you
page.
go.
Yeah, this one here. I mean, the reason I put like this on there because recently, obviously, we've got ongoing issues such as like speeding, antisocial behavior, and touch wood, we don't have. I'm like in my patch in Heartlands Ward, we only got one or two hotspots for fly tipping, and even that's kind of slightly reduced, but that's like an ongoing issue. But one thing which I was really, getting a lot of, the surveys I've been getting back from residents is the cost of living crisis. A lot of people are saying, we can't afford to pay our bills, we can't afford to, so which is very concerning. So I know I'll put it on there, but as a councillor, there's only so much we can do. But I think because that's something which is coming from residents, it shouldn't be just a document where where I just put some words. But I think anything which comes from the resident, it should be on there. So that's the reason I put it on there. So even like people like talk about food banks, and I've been approached many times that people are struggling to buy food. So that's the reason I'm like, so it says who will own this priority, and I says community groups and also councillors, and most importantly the member of parliament, Liam Burns. So I have kind of sent him a draft copy of this in order for him to contribute and see how he can help out constituency wide, in particular to the ward of Heartlands.
And just adding to that, Councillor Shah, there's lots of information as well that the council have put out.
That's right.
So there's lots of information floating around about the cost of living crisis, warm hubs, setting up food, setting up food banks or food pantries, and how organisations as well can register to become a food bank or to become a warm hub. So there's information out there as well. So again, that is very current. That's that is one of those things that's in everybody's face at the moment. So, but there is information out there that we can actually share as well. So I think that is probably one of the key things that we know we can offer information and support on.
Oh, that's brilliant. So yeah, I think that this kind of information should be shared with our local mosques, community centers, any other community groups who are interested in that. So yeah, Ifzal or Mushtaq, any thoughts on that?
I think this is a difficult one because you put it down as a priority, but I don't know how how forthcoming Asians are when it comes to going to food banks, because
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think the problem with Asian community is that they're very, very proud community. They don't like going to food banks. I've worked with food banks when Jab was doing it. You
Yes,
didn't
yes.
see many Asians yet. We were in the Asian area. So
Okay, so I'm
I
like,
don't know how
obviously,
forthcoming they
since
would
it's
be
only you
using
that
food
there,
banks.
do you reckon I should leave it in there, or
I think put it further down the chain, because ideally you want stuff that's achievable and
okay,
stuff that you can get results on. That's one that is going to be difficult to get an answer to,
sure,
or
sure.
so probably put it further down the channel.
Okay, so what we could
Like,
do is obviously the last section where it says, look, any locally, so we can put it. That's fine. So yeah, that's brilliant. Thanks for suggestions. Yeah, we can put. I mean, obviously, we can leave it in there, but we'll put it like further down on the list.
yeah,
Is that
because
okay?
there's only so much
Sure.
control you have on
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
going to MP level and stuff like that. So if you target more local level issues which you have control over,
yeah. No, that's brilliant. Thank you, Zal. Thanks for that. In that case, then Beverly, we can move on to the next one.
Can I just say something?
Sure, of course, yes, of
In
course.
terms of it's not just about food banks, it's about financial inclusion. Now,
Yeah.
within the financial inclusion, obviously there's opportunities, because the other thing is that it's about giving people the opportunity to have advice on basically, welfare benefits, advice on basically money savings. So, I mean, we did used to have in Heartlands, opposite McDonald's, there used to be there
St.
used to
Paul's
be
crossover.
yeah, and they
Yeah.
used to do advice, and I'm not sure if they're still around, but
No,
I
no,
think
that kind of unfortunately that stopped about 3 years ago, and it's a pizza shop now.
because
Yeah,
I think there's an opportunity within. I mean, there's something called the financial inclusion team within Birmingham City Council, whether there's opportunities to work with them and see whether there's you know, a local venue, maybe certainly school or something,
yes,
where people can have the opportunity to get advice and information and guidance on uh, welfare rights. Because the closest neighbourhood office to there used to be Small Heath neighbourhood office that closed many
That
years
closed
ago.
down
Then
many years ago.
you got so there is people. A lot of people don't know what to do if you're not benefit computer literate savvy and going on. If you don't know, you don't know where to go and where to get that advice. So there is
Yeah.
opportunities to work with the financial inclusion team to see whether there's, we could use maybe somewhere to host some surgeries or something. Or I mean, I was even thinking of having maybe in May or something, whether we could work with certainly Leisure Centre have a kind of an event day where we could invite certain, that could be a day where we could, invite someone
yeah.
from the social inclusion team to come and give just general advice, guidance, and maybe
I think that would be very useful because, like, there are a lot of people who are suffering, and there are a lot of people who are suffering in silence, and they feel, it's like they feel as it'll be embarrassing for them if they go and tell. So I think it's very important that we do have some kind of stuff. So no, that's very useful to know. Thank you for that, Mustafa. Right. Okay. This one here. Reopening of the pod. Ibzal's very well aware of it. Mushtaq, I don't know if you're aware of that, the pod.
I'm aware of it since 2004 when
Okay, I know you are.
I know about a lot about
Right.
it.
Okay. Unfortunately, this facility has been shut for about three and a half years, and I've been communicating with the officers, for to be honest with you, for a number of years to try and reopen it. And I know they did a survey around the residents, what the residents' view were. But as a ward council, I'm very, very adamant that there's only one thing which I want. I want that to be open, to and to be able to run properly, so you can provide facilities for young people and other activities. So the last communication I had with the leader of the council and through one of the officers is that it was just follow up from my email which I sent them. So look, I'm very frustrated. I need to know what's happening with it. When can we open it? So they send me communication back to me. Say, look, they are in process. They are about to start a process, in order to tender. So, organizations who want to actually take part in order to run it will be given an opportunity to do so. So what I've done in back of that, and I've asked an officer, and thank you to Beverly, we specifically arranged a separate ward forum meeting, which is going to be a face-to-face meeting where I've requested the councillor, city council officers to come to ward forum meeting and give us some definite answers. Now, what's the process? When would the process start? And when are we likely to have it reopened? So that meeting has been arranged for, is it Beverly, 31st of January?
Yes, Tuesday the 31st, and that's 6 o'clock, I think, at Saltley Leisure Centre, Saltley Wellbeing Centre.
Yeah, so I think it'd be very important to get anyone who's interested, because officers will come, and I think we need to. So we need to have that facility has been shut for many years, so we need to get it open. So yeah, so I think we can just leave it there, unless if Al Mushtaq's got anything. So, but we've got a separate ward forum meeting just to discuss that.
I was just going to say that within the city strategy, obviously they're looking at investing into youth hubs, and I know that there's been some an announcement about funding going into the base in Alam Rock. So is there any opportunity potentially for some youth funding? Because I know there's because they've just.
Yeah, of course. I think the important thing is because the facility has been shut. So because this is shut, so so obviously we can't get any funding. So I think once they open it, obviously it'll be the city council won't open it. So basically they will ask for community groups who are interested, and I'm surely they're going to follow a process, and whoever is successful in running that. So the way I wanted to do is my ideal thing is to have a consortium of residents who actually be on there, so they can have a say what kind of facility should be on there. So once he opens, I'm sure there's quite a few funding available to do local projects. And also that could be, going back to your first point, like having like a hub where we can get advice to residents about, this cost of living crisis or other issues which are happening in the area. Yeah. So I think, so the meeting has specifically been said, so on 31st, only thing we'll be discussing is the pod. And I think I'm sure Ifzal will come and will try and encourage other people, so at least they can ask the relevant questions and try and get some answers.
Yeah, certainly send me the details and I'll share that with my network.
I will definitely, I'll do that by tomorrow, Ifzal. Okay, and then we can move on to the next one.
Next priority, okay. Here we go. Can you see that one? A bold and safe.
Yeah. I think this is like an ongoing antisocial behavior, drug dealing, speeding in cars in the road. So these are the concerns which are being raised, and I'll get specifically so which areas they're coming from. Just by an alleyway on Bosley Green, just back at the McDonald's. So is that, and also. Quite a few residents informed me that certain cars will come at certain times and they will just drop something off, and speed up. So I have kind of sent information to and to be fair, the police do act on it, but unfortunately the drug dealers just move on to another area. So that's like an ongoing thing, and speeding cars. The main three roads, four, where I get a lot of people complaining. The number one would be Eastfield Road, and then we got New Bridge Road, which runs from just continues from Eastfield Road, and also the road where I live on, Yardley Green Road. These are three major roads where I get a lot of concerns from about the speeding cars. I have asked highways if they can, install some kind of ballards or speed braking measures on in particular on Eastfield Road, because it's just one straight stretch. So Alan Porter, the highways engineers, is exploring certain options. So we'll be updating, and I'll be updating onto the road plan. But if there's any other issues, any other particular roads, it's not necessarily that we need to know today. We can always add it on, and highways engineers can pick it up.
Has anyone reported anything with the petrol station on Churchill Road? Because I know there's a lot of guys that park up at night in cars, and they're on that nitrous stuff, where they're inhaling the gas. But I feel that the petrol station guys are too afraid to report on them for any backlash. So
no one's like kind of mentioned it, but we can add it on. And while we're on there, I just kind of remember I did have a kind of text message from someone just opposite Saltley Wellbeing Centre, Broadway Avenue. I think a lot of youths gather there in the evening times, and they just cause a lot of problem for the youth. So I need to add, so that's no, thank you. I'll add that on.
Yeah, get some feedback from the petrol station, because I know stuff goes on there at night, but the person who works at the petrol station.
I do know him. The person, I think he used to live on your road. I think he's moving on to the next road now. So I will speak to him.
Have a word with him, see if there's been any trouble or anything that you need to be made aware of. Maybe he's just afraid of reporting any issues, but I've noticed that a lot of cars just park up there at night, and they have lads in there, obviously up to no good.
Okay. All right. Okay, we can move on to the next one. Let's move stuff you guys.
Obviously, in terms of my role as a housing manager, obviously in terms of ASB bit, obviously we will link in with dealing with ASB involving BCC tenants. So obviously we'll give you a section to fill in terms of dealing with ASB in terms of complaints that we have from council tenants.
That's fine.
Or related to council tenants. So investigating and dealing with issues, remediating all that bit.
That's brilliant. Thank you, Mushtaq. But just going, just talking about antisocial behavior, Mushtaq, just to go, Ifzal.
Yeah.
I have kind of quite a few residents, not quite a few, I think about a lady sent me an email about the begging on corner of Churchill Road by the petrol station.
Yeah,
so I'll put that onto the. I have kind of mentioned that Beverly, you need to go up again, Beverly. A little bit more up, just there. Where is it? I think we'll just see.
Was it that one, or was it?
You need to go a bit more up,
am I going in the right direction?
Yeah, it is. I have got to put it on. So if you look on 2A, aggressive begging, homelessness. So the next section, I'll put like where it's mostly happening is by the Asda. I know it's not in my ward, but just around the corner, Asda and Churchill Road junction by the petrol, by Bowes Green, by the petrol station. A lot of the lady who kind of approached me, she's saying especially in the morning and about 3:30, when ladies are walking to school, they normally get approached by for begging and all that, and some of them feel very kind of scared because of that. So I have kind of reported to the police. So let's see what happens. So I left that in there as an ongoing thing.
That's very organized, because they have a rota system where the person actually swaps shifts and is sitting there. So it won't be the same person. You'll probably see 2 or 3 people. They're probably from the same house.
Yeah.
And they made it into a job where they change shifts. Yeah. One will be there for certain hours, and one will disappear. Another one will turn up. They're probably from the same HMO. They live in the same house, and probably getting the money together, pooled together to use for whatever activity they do. But they are local, and they're there every day. They're not homeless. They're obviously in one of the HMOs. So maybe Mr. Mushtaq can step in and give some advice on what can be done on that.
This is quite a common theme though across the city,
Yeah.
because I know
Yeah.
just when I'm driving backwards and forwards going to ward meetings, again on Stratford Road, you've got a team working there, and then you've got a
Yeah.
team in like Perry Bar, then you've got a team in Handsworth just up by the traffic lights going up towards the motorway, and so it's almost like there are pockets of them dotted around, sort of like I say, working in shifts and making a
I mean, I guess street begging is something that Councillor Shafique Shah could raise at basically council, because it's a problem that's happening across city, and I'm sure there was some time back there was an actual group that was going around and contacting people, and a lot of the times we found that they had tenancies in place but didn't want to actually stay in the tenancies they wanted to. So it's something that we could possibly raise collectively across the city about what we're doing about street begging, particularly at junctions across the whole. It's virtually most parts of Birmingham. You can see that
and
on main
it's on a rise. It's on a rise
It-
because
yeah.
no one's challenged it. They're not afraid of anything.
It is.
Just
But
to-
also,
just sorry,
but
just to
also
echo-
they're also trying the cars as well. So if your door's not locked, they're actually trying. I know when I was driving through Perry Bar the other day, they're actually trying your doors as well. So if your door's not locked, you could be quite vulnerable.
Just to echo Mushtaq's point, a couple of years ago, and I really got involved because obviously that was the winter months that really feeling sorry for certain people. Say, look, because they were telling me they don't have anywhere to live and all that, but that wasn't the case. We found out that they actually were tenant of a city council, but they tend to live on the streets and begging. So yeah, a lot of them are. So it's very much organized, and it's a lot more than what we think of it. Yeah. So are you guys happy to leave that in there? Yeah.
I think we're happy to leave it, but I'm just saying that whether you could raise it at a city level to see
I will do. I have
what's the
raised it.
strategy. What's the strategy to deal with these people?
That's fine. I mean, what I'll do, I'll make inquiries and I will raise it, and also whatever kind of feedback I've got, I'll try, because this ward plan template is very complicated. So I'll try and find a section where I can just like put some kind of update, what kind of feedback I've been getting from relevant officers. I'll do that. Okay, the next one.
That one, healthy Heartlands.
Yeah,
See that
this one, to be honest with you, I really need some some guidance on this. It's just like this is some of the information I've been collecting from from people who come to the advice bureau, because I do my advice bureau as Salt Delay Center, and I sit right at the front where people go in, and I get a lot of information from people who are actually going in there, ladies, and we get a lot of ladies going to there to use the gym and the facilities. So I think we generally we do need more kind of health facility like I mean in particular in relation to healthy eating, because I think that's very important to have especially a lot of in our community in this particular area or other inner city wards, a lot of people suffer from diabetes, and I think they really need some kind of health information, what kind of food they should be eating. So that's the reason I kind of left it in there. And the reason I put Saltley Wellbeing Center, because that's like, right, but that is the only kind of facility, leisure facilities we have within the ward. And I also put like GPs and community groups. So I think I know GPs do certain things, but maybe, I was thinking if I can, get in touch with the GP surgeon and say how they can, promote this. So that's the reason I left in there. But if anyone feels that there should be other stuff in there, I'll be more than happy to put in there.
Yeah.
But
I
again,
looked into this as well.
these are just suggestions. Anything you guys feel I shouldn't be in there or I should take out or whatever, we're more than happy to do so.
Yeah. I looked into this, and what a lot of people don't know is that Saltley is free to use after a certain time. I only found that out by the GP. Typically, as you mentioned, I'm diabetic myself, so I'm on the insulin, and I found out from one of the surgeries that after 5 the gym is free to use for anyone. They did offer me other stuff like walking groups and cycling groups, but they were doing work time. So I said, look, I can't attend them, but anything that's, after 5 o'clock, I'm happy to attend. So there is facilities there, but it's probably not advertised. People don't know about it. If anyone knew that, the gym was free after 5, I'm sure it'll be full.
So if that's the case, as a council, what I can do is, with Salty Leisure Centre's permission, next time I do a newsletter, like I can do a section at the back I think that'll be really useful for residents to know.
Yeah,
Because
I think many residents don't know, and rather than sitting at home, if the gym's free, and I went there on one of the days, and it was empty, hardly anyone there. There's 1 or 2 people there. That gym can easily accommodate, up to 15 people.
I don't think just free after 5 p.m. I'm sure they do sessions. Like I think Monday and Wednesday mornings is just ladies only, and then
During the days, maybe 1 or 2 days, but I think there was 3 or 4 days, a week. It was free in the evenings for anyone to use. I don't have the sort of schedule, but I know for about 3 to 4 days.
I can get it. I can get a schedule. That's fine. So if you guys happy, I think it's very important that we do leave that in, because that kind of affects everyone. It's very important that we do leave that in there.
Councillor Shah, in terms of, I was just thinking about the allotments as well, because you've got allotments in your ward as well, haven't you? So allotments and the healthy eating and the gentle exercise that you get from, digging your allotments and things like that. Because again, that will be good for things like, gentle fitness and mental health.
I think that's another hidden gem we've got that very few people know of, because it's gated. No one's really been there. So to promote that, probably have a few events at that, so which calls the community out to visit and walk around and see, because only key holders can access it. No one knows what's beyond those gates. There's people who lived in Boise Green that I've never seen the other side of it.
Do they actually engage with local? Because I know with a lot of the other allotments, they sort of have open days and things, don't they? Or community events and things.
They don't. There's 2 elderly chaps that have been looking after that place for decades,
thousands of years.
They're very out of touch. They don't know anything about social media, so they don't know how to invite people over. They're old school. They don't know anything about computers.
So perhaps, Beverly, we can we can contact those and say, look, if they will be willing to do some kind of an open day.
They'll be willing to do it, but they don't know who to reach out to, because I've spoken to them previously, and they go, there's so much patches that are, available for people to take, and because people aren't taking it, people don't know about it. The council is taking, the area back and building housing on the back of them, and they go, you know what, if you can get people, involved, or people to us, we'll be happy to show them around. But they're very old school. They don't know anything about social media.
I think it's very important that we do something about it, because as you mentioned, I think where the council is building houses right towards the back where the draining grove is, because I think that site hasn't been used for 40, 50 years at that particular. So no, I think definitely I'll be more than happy to add this onto the plan.
But I think if people knew about it, more people will use it, but it's just no one knows it exists.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you. If that's okay, then we can move on to the next one, which is this one. I mean, I know Ifzal used to do a lot of youth activities, especially litter picking and all that. So I think the reason I left that in there because I think that's something we should try and promote. Have more community groups who take ownership of their own areas. So maybe engaging with local schools, voluntary groups, and also neighbor policing team. I know is very good, very keen. So I know before COVID we had quite a few, and they were led by Ifzal, and but I think perhaps we should be try and do them again.
Yeah, I think that will naturally pick up as when the pod opens or when
Yeah,
the allotments open.
sure.
Once you've got somewhere to work from where you can keep the litter picks and stuff like that and
Yeah,
get the kids involved, then also the weather as well as it gets dark, no one's
absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
interested. With summer
Yeah,
coming along, I think people will get more interested in doing stuff in the evenings and weekends.
You can also
Uh,
tie in with the Love Your Streets and Love Your Environment initiatives
Yeah,
that are,
yeah.
because
Yeah,
I mean,
again, they can help do lots of things as well, can't they?
yeah, I
is
used to
there
work
any
with them as well, so
Yeah.
yeah.
There
is
you
there
go
So I
any
then.
think
particular reason why we've just got youth activities linked to street cleanups? Because obviously, I think the street cleanup bit and litter picking and generally, uh, people taking more ownership for their own areas should be everyone.
Yeah.
Should be,
Yeah.
okay.
women's
No, that's
groups,
something.
elders,
The reason, sorry,
everyone
yeah,
should
yeah,
be basically, getting more involved in to improve the area. I think it's all yes, it should be youths, but it should be elders, should be women, should be a mixed variety of,
Yeah.
because
Yeah. You're
until
right.
should the whole
Everybody.
community should really, I mean, love your street and these litter pick initiatives. I mean, there's all types of people. Maybe the
okay.
initiative should be to
Yeah.
encourage everyone to
That's fine. I'll be more than happy to put that in. No, no, thank you. As I said, this was just a draft document, and yeah, I'll be more than happy to change that.
I mean,
That's
we
not a
could
problem.
get local mosque groups, local churches,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
faith groups involved. That I mean, there'll be plenty of youth type, religious groups in the area in Heartlands.
Mm.
Maybe getting them involved in litter picking. Maybe we did that in Ralph Road in Alam Rock, where we got the
Okay.
one of the couple of local mosques, and we got the mosque kids to do the litter picking. So you got a community group, a local
Yeah.
faith group, and the children. So I think we need to do
No,
a lot more with the faith groups in the area and try to
that's
get them
fine.
involved in improving, taking ownership.
No, Mushtaq, thank you for those suggestions. I'll definitely add them on. So, as I said, this was like just a draft document. So the whole point was just to talk about it. And no, no, thank you. I'll definitely add that in there.
Ideally, you want street champions so they look after their own streets rather than one
Mm.
set of groups that do like 5 streets. If you can try and create street champions for every sort of street, 1 or 2 active road models, and they sort of get the rest of the street out. And if you see a group out on your street, other people will join in and start asking
Absolutely,
questions.
absolutely. Yeah, yes. Fine. So happy to leave that in. And
Mhm.
just add some, like a suggestion given by Mushtaq. So yeah. Right. These are like some of the stuff I kind of put on the bold local heartlands. A little, sorry. So basically, it's just engaging with schools about litter picking, uh, and also as we just talked about earlier. I know we jumping the gun, promoting community groups. Again, Mushtaq, I've got it in there, engaging with faith groups to undertake cleanups. So these are some kinds of stuff I put on there. And also, I know about six to 8 months ago, we gained a lot of problems. And the rows of shops on Bose Green in between Churchill Road and Colony Road, they were dumping the commercial waste onto the pavements. Touch wood, that hasn't happened for a while, so that's the reason I left it in there, maybe just to keep an eye on that. And also the one issue I pick up all the times is the even I live there. Parking around Harkness Hospital. What we do get, we get a lot of visitors and staff members. They leave the cars there on the grassworks and everything. Traffic enforcement officers do come out occasionally, but it's just happening all the time. And the next one is Mushtaq, the reason I put it on there, the improvement of council housing in Little Bromwich, where all the groves are. That area really needs to be cleaned up because, unfortunately, we get a lot of, that's the only place where we get, people just leaving their old furniture, everything outside the doors. So that's the reason I left it in there.
Yeah, I think it's just generally investment, isn't there? There's investment
Absolutely.
on. It's just lack of investment from Birmingham City Council.
Yeah.
In terms of what you've got is predominantly those groves. They weren't designed for the amount of traffic that we've got on those groves.
Absolutely, yeah.
And people have just the grass verges along there are terrible. You know, so it's just a lack of investment in the area.
I think just before COVID, working with Feroza, and she was very good at leading that. What we did was we did kind of try and engage with all those residents. So if somehow we can work them, unfortunately, it was only we only managed to encourage about 3, 4. The rest they were not bothered. But then obviously we were hit by COVID and we couldn't do much. So I think I just need to pick up on that and see how we can improve, because I do that's. Uh, I do get a lot of people complaining about that, but it's the people who actually drive through or pass through. I don't get many residents who actually live there complain about the rubbish and the state of gas wages. So I think somehow we need to educate them to take more ownership of the outside garden and the road.
Yeah, and I think the point that you mentioned was about the hospital parking, because of the parking's that bad. People are just parking half on the grass verges and parking anywhere, and it's just it just there's too much hospital staff and visitors parking there, and that's become a bottleneck really.
Yes, and one thing which I suggested, because we did have a community meeting, but again this was just before COVID. Because the one suggestion a few residents came out with was that, as if you are going from uh, towards Aldi, Little Bromwich Road, just the left hand side, have it all double yellow lines, so people won't be, and it won't create the bottleneck. That's something which highways engineer is still exploring about, and what he's telling me is to get double yellow lines is not an easy task. So again, I spoke to him about a couple of weeks ago and said, look, that would be the only solution, because what's happening is people are parking on Little Bromwich Road both sides, right near by the roundabout. So that creates a bottleneck, and people were also parking on the actual roundabout. So we do get a bit of highways fund for the ward. So that was used to put some barriers on Little Bromwich Road and Newbridge Road. So I think that's kind of solved the problem. So people are no longer parking on the pavements.
Is there not some construction going on? Is that not a multi-story car park that's being built, or is that just?
Yeah, I mean, to be like hospital do provide parking for certain staff, but the way this hospital is expanding, there's so many people work there and visitors and all that. We still get people parking on I think it's this Little Bromwich Road. And the other side would be like Alston Road, Alston Grove. We've got huge problems in relation to parking. One thing I don't know. I don't know, maybe Mushtaq can shed some light on it. I think the ideal solution would be the way they've got in Solihull around Solihull Hospital resident parking. But I think in order to get that could be, you know,
Yeah, I mean, I think Alan Porter, I mean, to get a residence, I mean, they've got a few resident parking schemes in King's Heath and places like that, but obviously there's various kind of procedures, traffic regulation
Sure.
orders, and various
Yeah,
other
yeah.
things that they have to be considered. So obviously, in terms of the other point is I mean, maybe we could consider exploring getting some kind of funding from the hospital to alleviate.
Yeah,
So we could use some of their money
be
to
honest with
basically.
you, we did that many times, many times. We tried inviting the ward forum meetings and all that, and I remember like years ago, about 7, 8 years ago,
They
they
never
came
turned up.
and but apart from that, nothing. But in going to, I have arranged to a site meeting where we could do like a walk around, with Alan Porter and also engineer from Cllr. This will is on 21st. So I'll be just taking them around. And to me, one thing, whether we get it or not, but one thing I think the only solution would be for residents parking. Otherwise, hospital would never take ownership of it.
It's how far you're going to go down with the residents parking. Would it just be Yardley Green Road and the
No,
little?
I think the major problem is not Yardley Green Road. Obviously, we do get. I think that the major problem is opposite the hospital main. We're like Bosley Green East, like the roads leading to there, like Foxwell Road, uh, like I think the other one is
Alston Grove, I think.
Alston Grove,
Yeah.
Alston Grove, Coburn Road. People are just parking, they park the car in the mornings till late evening. So I think I'll be pushing for that area to be done first, and then maybe a similar scheme could be done on Little Bromwich Road. I think it's not because Yardley is like is the main road. It's not so much problem there, but I think like people the majority of the complaints I do get about the parking is from right opposite the hospital, like where Olsen Grove is.
Yeah, because we got the school there as well,
That's
haven't we?
fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. So these are some of the stuff which I put on there. If you think there's something else we could do, I mean, we can just put it on there, or we could add them at any stage because it's a working document. But
I
these
think
are
the
some of
other issue to raise was these scooters, e-scooters.
yeah. Unfortunately, we did have an incident. So and to be honest with you, I asked for a temporary ban on them, and I'm still asking for a temporary ban on them because unfortunately, around our areas, I mean, I live on Yardley Green Road, right next to Waverley School, and I see even now, to be honest with you, I don't see people in my age kind of riding them in our areas. The only people I see are school children riding them, and especially in the morning and 3:30, sometimes you see two, three school children, on these voice scooters. And the reason I'm asking for temporary ban on them, that if the system is not robust enough, which prevents school children riding them. So until the system is strong enough where children don't get access to it, there should be some kind of temporary ban on them.
Yeah, I mean, I spoke to Washwood Heath School lead, and they said that the biggest issue they've got is these e-scooters and these cigarettes as well. Them e-cigarettes.
It's just like unfortunately, we had a child died, which is, to be honest with you, the way I see, one death is one too many because of negligence in the system.
I mean, if they want to keep them, the only way around it would be fingerprint recognition, where you do your thumb, and then because anyone can get hold of someone's
absolutely. I mean, to be honest with you, don't get
details
me
and
wrong.
do it.
I'm not against them. To be honest with you, I'm like I do acknowledge that. They're great if used properly to be able to reduce congestion and also protect the environment. But I think currently the system is not strong enough. All we see, young school children riding them. So I think until they, as you suggested, until they tighten the system where school children don't have access to it, then there should be some kind of temporary ban on them. So I can add that on there. The reason I didn't do it, I added on because it's just like
it's a massive issue. It's not just
it's a massive issue, and unfortunately we had that's fine. So
the other thing is, do you know anything about the trams that are going to be running through Bowser Green? Any plans? Have you seen anything?
I've been like I did. I tried to get some information, but I didn't, I received anything. So that's my next plan to add something on there. Because
when is that all happening? Is it
yeah. So as soon as I get some kind of information, I will definitely update you on to the road plan.
Yeah, because I'll have a massive impact on the roads as well.
Oh yeah, it will. Yeah, of course it will. Because obviously, while they're constructing it, the traffic is it's a nightmare already, and obviously if they close Bowser Green for a while, that's going to cause a lot of problems. But we just have to see.
The only other concern is I know that the council is pushing for more housing, but that they're overlooking schools, doctor surgeries, everything else. So the area is getting highly, densely populated, but stuff like schools and doctor surgeries are inundated because they haven't, built any more of them. They've built loads of new housing, so new families are coming in, but the area is already congested. And if we're going to add to that by bringing trams and more traffic and that, it's going to, you're just asking for more trouble.
Absolutely. We need to see something back there. No, that's fine. Definitely.
Councillor Shah, does this link in as well? I mean, you've got the East Birmingham strategy that Mark Gamble's team is heading up. with all the business transport jobs as part of the East Birmingham strategy thing. And I think pretty sure Heartlands, it runs from, oh gosh, all the way through most of Hodge Hill and into Yardley. And I'm pretty sure Heartlands is part of
the
East Birmingham strategy thing. So again, that would link into a lot of things that Ifsal and Mushtaq were saying as well, with housing and transport and jobs and skills and you know, I suppose schools and the infrastructure really. So I'm sure the East Birmingham strategy, I'm sure that will take in some of Heartlands. I'm sure Heartlands is included.
Definitely worth exploring and see what they can offer us. For our area.
No, that'll be good if because jobs is another thing where, you know what, we've got the local youth out of work and that lot. So if there's any opportunities that can open doors for them or career-wise,
absolutely,
it gives them something to do rather than be on the streets.
One of the things
was it about a year and a half ago? There was that East Birmingham corridor strategy. There was an event at South Birmingham College, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's it. Yes, that's it now. So it's now sort of they've now I think it's now officially launched, and they've expanded the team. So they've now got officers in place to sort of help drive. I think it's a 10-year thing. I could be wrong, but it's a long strategy. So or it's a long period of time. So they're now putting the building blocks in place to make sure they've got the officers to sort of help drive this forward. And it does take it looks at lots of things really, like I say, the infrastructure, you know, housing, the support, that sort of thing as well. But one of the things I was going to say as well, and which was raised this morning at one of the other meetings that I did, and it was raised at another meeting that I did yesterday, where we've got neighbouring ward issues as well. As with the ward plan, if there's an issue in another ward, your neighbouring ward, you can work together to sort of try and resolve, you know, you can include it in both ward plans, and you can work together to resolve those or to sort of try and tackle them. So you haven't got to, where there's a common issue and it affects more than one ward, you haven't actually got to do it in isolation. It's about working together, pooling your resources together to sort of, you know, for the greater good. So that's something as well you can, because, and again, these Birmingham strategy, I suppose, and a lot of the things that you talked about with the begging and the voice scooters and all that sort of stuff, that cuts across, you know, neighbouring wards as well.
No, that's brilliant. Thank you.
That's just a suggestion.
No, it's very good suggestion. Thank you. And I
mean,
think
is there any opportunities in Heartlands for local jobs or anything like that? Anything that's opening up? Anything that's going to, you know, bring more careers, jobs for the youth? Anything that's happening in Heartlands where we can sort of direct the local, you know, residents for jobs in Heartlands?
Nothing new which I can think of. Obviously, we've got Heartland Hospital, and they keep on saying they did give priority to the relevant jobs to local people. Mostly, you know, the more specialized jobs, it could be somewhere anyway. Apart from that, there's nothing else I can think of which, you know, is kind of happening around here.
Are they the largest employer locally, Heartlands?
Yes.
But again, I think this is where you know, just finding out from the East Birmingham strategy, what's happening. I think that could, you know, that links into lots happening on the east side of the city.
Okay. Next one.
Oh, sorry. Yep.
I think that's it, really.
I think yes, that's it then. Yeah, that's it. And then you've just talking about the 6-month review and everything else. I think that was the last one of your priorities.
Yeah, I would feel like, you know, this template is like kind of very confusing, and I thought I was just only getting confused, but we did have an online meeting with other councillors, and a lot of them actually see this as a, you know, very confusing kind of template, and there's certain things you could put on the way. I mean, like if you look at say 6 versus priority 6, so I just highlighted a number of things. So you know, so maybe I've considered using a more simplified template, you know, where people be just able to add things, you know, as we go along. So that's something which I might be thinking of doing. So if we are allowed, I'll be using more simplified kind of template, if that's okay.
Yeah, I think most wards, I think most councils have said they'd rather use something that's more user friendly.
Yeah.
And again, because again, when it comes to sort of laying it all out, you've sort of got your priorities, and when it comes to looking at the actions and taking ownership and how it's going to be delivered and monitored and that sort of thing, those are sort of things that need to go in an action plan. And again, with the templates, it's got to be user friendly. And if it's something that's going to cause a great deal of anxiety and stress for everybody to try and complete, that's not going to help the process at all, really. So I think some councils have said they're going to develop and use something that they feel more comfortable, them and residents feel more comfortable.
No, that's only fair. So what I'm going to do, I think, out of this, so the first priority, which is cost of living crisis, and I think, you know, as Ifzal kind of suggested, and I think it's absolutely right there. We do need to leave it in there, but maybe not right at the top. So I'll be changing that before I submit that in. Is that okay? Is that okay, Beverly?
Yes, I mean, and at the end of the day, it's down to yourself, council and residents, to decide which, you know, what your key priorities
are. The way I
yeah,
feel, it shouldn't be just a document led by, you know, just by the council. It's all about. I mean, I'm also a resident, so it should be led by residents. So
that's right.
I think in future, when we have obviously we've got a next ward forum meetings, and then what we'll do, we'll probably schedule another one for March, and I think that should be even kind of led mostly by the residents, and, you know, I'll be there as the councillor and also a resident. So that's fine. So if that's it, then we can. Is there anything else, Ifzal or Mushtaq, you want to say before we go into the next item?
Obviously, Councillor, I just wanted to say that obviously I'm looking at the housing stock within and the estates within housing. So if I can have a copy of the document, there may be sections I can add to, because obviously I'm looking at the cleaner, greener, safer agenda as well for each of my areas. So I can add to that document really, where in terms of our housing stock and investing and improving.
That's fine. So Beverly, would you, you know, like the copy of this this draft, would you email across to Mushtaq, please?
Yes, I will do. Yeah, I'll do it when I before I finish tonight.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Where I can add to it, I'll add to it in terms of where's ASB, cleaner, greener, what things we're going to be doing. Because I'm focusing predominantly on housing, land, and council stock. Basically, those are two.
No, that'll be really great if you can do that, Mushtaq. I really appreciate that. Thank you. Okay. Right. So then I think next item is the date of next meeting, which is 31st, which is Tuesday, 31st of January, at 6 p.m. at Salfley Wellbeing Centre, Broadway Avenue. And that meeting is specifically to get an update. An officer will come from Birmingham City Council just to give an update about the pod and say where we are and what's the next process of getting it open as soon as possible. Okay. Fine. Thank you, Beverly. Okay. Thank you, Mushtaq. Thank you, and Ifzal. Thank you for all your contribution. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.